all you can get out of us today. I can't hear out of one ear. I can't breathe out of one nostril.
But we gonna work with it.
We working with it. This is October, y'all. Well, hello and happy harmonizing to you.
Yes, happy harmonizing to
Welcome
you.
to Harmonize.
The podcast.
Yes, with whom?
Nina.
And me, myself, Kenya.
Where we talk about all things being black,
Being a woman.
being a wife,
Being a mother.
being a performer,
Being a Christian.
and all the things.
We even have choreography for that,
Yeah,
too.
we do. We have choreography now.
Yes. Or a few days away from Dia de la Muerta and Hallelujah festivals and Halloweens and all kinds of things that have to do with
How
candy
many of
and
y'all?
children.
Look, how many of y'all? Like you was so church, you didn't go trick or treat.
How many of y'all? Well, you know what? I have to admit, I was never that church.
No, because Baptist church let you do it. Catholic church let us do it. too.
Yeah. But there
are some that's like, no, you can
cannot,
go to.
You cannot.
You can go to Holy Wing.
Yes, that's right. And you do what you want to do. You go on ahead. Make sure you have that sage out for the household.
There you go.
For them real demons. But you know what? Sometimes I find I need that sage on Halloween Eve of. And sometimes I need it when I go to work. Sometimes I need it right when I go to church.
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
I just need it in the car.
Okay.
With myself.
Right. Right. Like I need the sage myself.
Oh, and by the way, do not mix Dia de la Muerta with Halloween. Please,
two different
come on.
things.
They are two different things. If you didn't know, I hope you know now. Do your research. Just, go to Wikipedia or whatever. You can find some stuff out. I'm gonna leave it at that. But
amen. No.
yes. But anyways. Yes, so we are here, and the fall has come upon us. The leaves are turning beautiful colors in Cleveland, Ohio.
It turns on like a switch. It was 80 degrees, and then we went to bed, and while we slept, it said, "No, girl, it's 50." What you
I
talking
was
about?
like, what? I was spoiled now.
You remember me? I'm Cleveland. Smack. Right.
And now will come and bring rain. Rain.
Cute. Once on this island.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, so my inner body is reflecting the change in the weather.
Though
Your inner body.
She is wearing a lovely harmonized purple.
Yes, y'all have I'm gonna put my hat on, you take a picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I do feel, I have to say it, my fall fashion has been on point.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has. Thank you for the boots, Kelly. I appreciate it. And
who is living her best life?
Oh, can we talk about Miss Kelly Hancock for a second?
She's doing it for all of womankind now.
She is. Last week, Kelly hopped on a plane with her sister, bussing us class.
That's business for those of you who need a Kenya translator.
That's right.
Business class.
First to Belgium. Now she's at the UK to go and watch the Browns play a game or two.
Here we go, Brownies.
Go
Here we
Browns,
go.
yes. Whether you win or lose, and we're so used to the other part, but whether you win or lose, we're behind you.
Yes.
So she went to go watch the Browns play, which will happen in the next few days, and then I think she takes a day trip to Paris.
She's doing it for womankind right now.
She done hit every brewery, every castle. She's partied with all the dudes there.
Yes.
And I'm living through. Are you living through her?
I am living.
Yes.
So, we have a thing in our sister circle that if one of us makes it, we all make it.
Yes, we all make it.
If one of us gets a vacation, we all on vacation.
Yes, child. I sit back with my beer mug filled with cranberry juice. And pretend.
Okay. And then she sends us a pictorial diary at the end of every day on the WhatsApp.
Yes.
On the Snapchat.
Yes. So we are enjoying. Yes. Shout out to Kelly and all of Europe.
Yes.
Oh.
Have fun, girl.
Yes. What were we talking about? I forgot.
Well, today, we were talking about how fall slapped us in the face.
Yes, fall slapped. Speaking of slapped and getting stuff like going on, I woke up the other day and turned on my Facebookular. I know I make up words.
It's okay. We're gonna put a Kenya dictionary on the on the website.
And I saw the letter that
Lupita.
Senora Lupita wrote about Weinstein. Is that his name?
Him. Him.
What do they call him? Mr.?
Right? Okay.
Yes, and it's funny because I had a different outlook because her letter was the first thing that I read about this news that had hit. Shortly after the letter, I, do my thing, got in the car, turned on my classical music station. Yes, I listen to classical music in the morning.
You're a ballerina.
I know. It's
okay.
just, we've done it for generations. It's so odd, driving down in the hood. Everybody else has their good music. And I'm like, it's CLV.
Right.
So, and of course, they were talking about it on the BBC. Mm-hmm. I was like, the news? Oh my gosh, what she had to say, what a black woman had to say about being inappropriately mishandled and psyched out by a white man has made the BBC. This is big. So then I go and I look up some more stuff and find out this. I know, Kenya, where have you been?
No,
I don't
it's
listen
okay.
to the news. So,
you have children.
Yeah, I just don't. If it's that important, it'll hit me. So.
Right.
I learned of all of these other accounts, but the one that stuck out was the first encounter that I had. It is interesting because you have another perspective. So tell me about that perspective, because we won't harp on it, but I do want to touch about it because it's very important.
Well, I read all my film news wires and actor news and all the things. So, we heard about all of the different women who came forward. Mm-hmm. Rose McGowan made all her missteps as she's wont to do. Mm-hmm. She's #problematic fave of some people. And, for those of you that don't know what the misstep was, it's like after she told her story, there was this, a series of events that happened. So she told her story. There was absolutely appropriate flood of support for her bravery and everything. And I think Alyssa Milano was one of the first women that said, after this event specifically, if you've experienced this, let's bring this back, or something to that effect, #MeToo. And so then there was, Me Too everywhere, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram for like 2 weeks. And it was actually started, Me Too was actually started 10 years ago by a black woman. Which is interesting to me. Mm-hmm, about sexual harassment, but we'll get to that later. Okay. But Rose's misstep was another one of our problematic faves. What's his name? Carpool Karaoke was doing a James Corden right was doing a comedy set, and he came out making jokes about Weinstein, and it's like, no, James, it's too soon for this, inappropriate. So Rose retweeted it, and she's like, see, just replace the word woman with the N-word. So of course, Black Twitter flamed her.
That hurt me.
Yeah, that hurt me.
I can't even verbalize why, but right. I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, please tell me why.
At least I'm gonna tell you why it hurts me. Okay. But Black Twitter flamed her and dragged her immediately. Like, girl, no, okay, you and the I absolutely refuse to sit here and teach a course on critical race theory, right? Because there are things called Coursera, iTunes U, and Google, where you can go find this stuff out for yourself. Right. You can teach.
You can lecture. You can listen to a lecture by Dr. What's her name? Joyce. Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying. You can
do all of that stuff.
You can go to Coursera, iTunes U, Google. You can hear all of these things from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Howard, all of these professors and the people in academia that is their life's work. So I am not going to teach you, because it's not my job. Right. Go learn it for yourself the way I had to learn it for myself as a Black woman. So that's number one. Right. Number two, the problem with it is every time something is bad, people want to equate it to the Black struggle, without admitting that the Black struggle is bad. So
that's it right there.
Yeah. So
they want to equate it to the Black struggle without admitting that the Black struggle is real.
Right. And acknowledging that it's real until it's convenient for them. Right. But also refusing to acknowledge that there is a whole group of people.
Right.
who sit at the exact intersection of womanhood and blackness.
Right. There's a whole group of them.
Yeah, us.
Of us.
Us. Yeah. And so what happened, because like, I don't know if people really understand, you know, because we were teenagers when Anita Hill brought Clarence Thomas before the Supreme Court. Right. And here's the thing. I understood that it was big at that time. It wasn't until many years later, and then discovering it again when HBO made the film with Kerry Washington and Wendell Pierce, and watching confirmation and remembering those events with the experience that I have now, that I understood how huge that was. Yes. And that's
bravery.
Absolutely. Right. And then the woman who coined the term intersectionality. Okay. And I'm going to find her name and put it in here. Look it up and everything. Yes, Dr. Kimberlé Crenshaw. She came up with that and has all of this theory about it because women were coming to court, Black women, with cases, and judges were telling them, well, no, it can't be racism and sexism. You have to choose one. You have to choose. And it's like, but we cannot choose one because it is both. Right. And it is both. And we deal with both constantly and consistently. So much so no, Rose, you're wrong. And so then here she goes, because this is what happens when people make this particular misstep over and over and over and over again, is they say, oh, you're right. I made a mistake. Please teach me. I ain't teaching you nothing. It's not my job to teach you nothing. It's not the job of the survivors of oppression and the marginalized community to teach the people who are doing the marginalizing and the oppression to stop. Yeah. It's your job to go find out what you're doing wrong. Right. So white people, come get your folk.
Come get your girl.
Come get your girl and help her out.
Help her, please.
You know, put your sister circle around her.
Yes, please. And somebody, because somebody out there is woke. Somebody who's white is also woke.
There are many allies who have been named by communities of color who are well versed in school. Right. And stop asking marginalized people to school you.
Right.
No. Right. Because it's re-traumatizing for the person who has been traumatized to hash it through and then prove to you when you get, because here are the phrases. Right. These are always the phrases. Well, I've never heard of that.
So it doesn't exist.
Right. I've never experienced that.
So it doesn't exist.
I don't know about that.
Well, it must not exist.
Right. It's like, girl, bye. You know? So that was an issue. And then it was like, as soon as Lupita's article dropped, it was like silence.
Yeah. Because from my end, from your end, you read all of this information that happened beforehand, and then Lupita wrote something, and that was like science. From my end, it was like my first understanding of what was going on was her letter. Right. But to be honest with you, I hadn't seen much activity after she wrote that, except for she's so brave. Right. She's so graceful. She's so beautiful. Right. She's so brave. And she is the only one he came out and refuted. And said, no, it didn't happen that way. Like, that's not what happened. Right. I still think she's brave. I do.
Absolutely. I think
absolutely brave. All of them are. I mean, all of them are. But I think,
because anytime you come out and express that something like that has happened, you risk.
But you're right about not being the person to teach and educate, because I think of it like this. If you're talking to a young girl who just comes out or comes forth from sex trafficking, and you say to her, I want you to teach me how does this thing happen? How does it, and then the whole time,
how does it feel?
How does it feel? But the whole time in the back of your mind, you're like, it didn't really happen because, I don't really believe it because it just didn't happen to me. It just didn't happen. And it's just this very crazy game that is being played, and then you're right, it's not the responsibility of the person who's being traumatized or victimized to also be criminalized, or just more than that, just put aside and said, that's cute. Right. What you said, all right, and today in other news, right. And that's what it often feels like, and I guess that's why it was so powerful for me when she said it and it hit the BBC. I was like, oh, snap, somebody's listening. So, you know. But to be honest with you, I didn't hear too much activity after that, except for, you know, she's beautiful, she's brave, and all that.
Right. There wasn't a, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting the way in which Black women have been and continue to be handled.
Yeah.
That's not what's interesting. What's interesting is the response and lack thereof of the way that Black women have always been since the inception of this country, been handled and continue to be handled. Right. And because we are not worth as much in the eyes of this government, this society, and all these things, that it's not that deep.
Right.
Until, especially if we are not willing to perform our pain. And so there's and that idea is very interesting to me as a performer.
Right. I was gonna ask to lead, let's say we lead this out of, you know,
well, out of me too.
Well, but into our area of art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know, how this plays out in the area of art.
Black History Month. Don't you want to come do all the slave plays?
I know, my goodness. Yes, I do. I do want to do all the slave, but I also want to do some other stuff.
Right. We have a rich and vibrant history.
Yes.
You know,
we really do.
But it's like
I would love to be able to tap into that without having to prove what happened, teach about what happened in the past, because I spent a lot of my time trying to learn and then teach and then prove. Like, I can't get out of that circle sometimes. Sometimes I just want to do something completely offbeat about a circus or something. Right. But I can't because I'm swallowed up in this circle. And part of me feels like, as an artist, I have to continue, you know, I have to continue to show, teach, prove what I do, and to do it in the form of art. Yeah. And a lot of times when I do all of that, I because we're not, you know, in the eyes of many, worth much or worth less. We don't get acknowledged as much, and we don't get paid as much. And so, can
we talk about that?
Yes,
can
please.
We talk about it?
I'm ready. You ready?
Let's talk about it. How and granted, for those of us who are nowhere near this bracket right now, this is so much money. Yeah. But Tracee Ellis Ross right now is the lowest paid actress on television.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not. She is one of the lowest paid actresses on television. She is only making, or at least at the time that this article came out, $80,000 an episode. Anthony's making $100,000 an episode. But they are like the lowest. Like, everybody else is making like
what at they make least, on Friends.
At least $250,000 an episode to $1 million or $2 million per episode.
Can we also talk about what's the name? I miss those names. Scroll down. Sorry.
That's okay.
Cut that out. Keep going. Keep going. You know who I'm getting to. Taraji Henson, who also put that on blast.
Yeah. And she's making more than Tracee. No,
because she had to finally speak up about it, because I was appalled when I found out how much she made on Benjamin Button compared to
Pitt.
You know, and I get it. He's the star of the show. I'm that's fine. All I'm saying is, if it was a role where Sir Anthony Hopkins was playing 10 minutes in it, or you know, let me see if I could be even more fair, because he's been at the game for a long time, so I'm you know,
and he's a knight.
You know, but and I'm not discrediting him. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him.
Yeah,
okay.
That.
I'm just saying that I was appalled when I found out how they paid her for that particular movie after having done all of this.
Well, the thing is, the success of Blackish is so huge.
Yeah.
It has won multiple awards. Right. She has won and been nominated for multiple awards.
Okay.
She's even been nominated for more than Anthony has, and he's arguably the title character.
Right.
But she is the lowest paid in all of she is the lowest paid actress on television in a leading role right now.
Oh my God.
Now I don't know if it has changed since this article came out.
I hope it did. Hollywood. Change it.
But the thing is, when you think about that and you think about the fact that she is everywhere.
Right.
She's hosting award shows.
Yes.
She is in print ads right now.
Right.
She's on commercials right now. And arguably she's getting paid for those things.
Right.
But she is getting those gigs because of the gig that's not paying her.
Right. She's basically doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's just on a big
on a different scale.
You add or subtract.
Yeah.
Subtract a lot of zeros.
Right.
But that's basically what's happening.
Right.
You have this gig. It's not paying you nearly as much, but you can do or can have these other gigs that'll pay you, but that's sustaining, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, so it's, you know, and the thing is, she's not.
Oh, Miss Ellis, I'm sorry, you have to go.
She's not, because she's in a comedy, because she is portraying something different from what we've seen and all that. She is not, even though they tackle serious subject matter in the sitcom format,
absolutely.
She is not performing pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's an element to blackness and being a black performer where there's a level of that is expected.
Yes, that's true.
There's
That's true.
When I was in undergrad, shout out to Dillard University.
D-U.
They always.
Did I get that right?
No, but that's okay.
All right, that's all right. I'm a foreigner.
It's almost exactly the same as what y'all do for TSU.
I know, right?
It's D-U. But, you know, they always wanted me to play somebody's tragic mulatto.
Yeah,
and I was like, no.
Oh my gosh.
No, I love y'all.
I can't do it so much no more.
I love y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that.
Happier.
Can I do
or offbeat
anything else besides that?
It's true. It gets played out, you know,
very quickly.
And it's important. It's not like I'm not honored to do the work, but I think that's why I liked the last thing that I really enjoyed doing was Why I Had to Dance. Was Diane McIntyre's choreography to Intozaki Shange. Her book, and in the section of it is Why I Had to Dance, and it was great because I can't recall that we ever had to take time to explain any kind of struggle. You know, I can't recall in that performance where we had to say, well, we were downtrodden and this happened and blah blah blah. It was kind of it was a celebration of dance, but it was very Afrocentric. Okay. I
mean, it's in Tazaki. It was going to be built in, but she doesn't dwell on it.
She doesn't dwell on right. It wasn't something you had to sit and explain. Right. Well, we had to be over here to do the Cotton Club stuff. Like, it was none of that. It just was pure dance through her eyes, which I could completely relate to.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing to do something where I didn't have to, you know, pretend like I was a slave or, you know, or any of that. You know, it was just really nice to do, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think this is probably why this has attracted me to Clifford Owusu. Because, and I don't know how I got hooked on to him, but if you haven't checked him out yet, check out Cliff Owusu.
We'll put him in the show notes.
He's just too funny. But I love how his perspective of being an African living in America is, he doesn't even have to touch on that. It's all about humor. It's literally something everybody can identify with as growing up with a stern father and a stern mother who she's never seen us. It's funny. It's interesting how he does it, but I love how he does that take and how it's just comedy. Yeah. And it was funny because every time I hear anything about Africa, it has to do with the Middle Passage. Like all of my existence started with the Middle Passage, and that there's no other culture there, and they don't do stuff like have fun or go to the beach or go to the mall or go to the movies.
They could dance.
They could dance. That's it. But and they hunt. But then I look at this thing and I'm like just cracking my butt off because it's funny. You can just be black and just create work.
Yeah, you can exist and have a life.
Right.
And even though, racist structures exist and supremacist structures exist, you can still have a very full life.
Yeah. And you don't have to think about that stuff so heavy on you all the time. Yeah. And I think that's why I liked being at a black school. Well, that's exactly what it was. I mean, I could have gone to another school or any other school, but what was really good graduating out of my school, a predominantly white, all girls boarding school. I didn't board, but it was a boarding school in the middle of 360 acres of land. By the time, and I had great fun there. It was wonderful. But when I graduated, I was like, I could just concentrate on math. I don't have to explain to anybody why I got to go get myself a fresh perm. Or why I don't have to go get a fresh perm. Or why I chose not to shave my legs. Or why I need to go out and get some Vaseline, because we didn't do cocoa butter. Vaseline. It's just those little things. I was just like, and so for 4 years, or a little longer, I got a chance to live in a society where I just really didn't have to think about it. Yeah. At all. But all of that.
Well, no, I mean, we're talking about this idea of black people having to perform their pain. Yeah. And there are certain things that come along with breathing while black.
Yeah, all of that.
In white spaces. Yeah. That they expect to see certain things from you. That they expect, for example.
I got a good example too.
When, as I was transitioning out of there is nothing that will reveal how the white folk around you really think more than joining a place, leaving a place, or some major transition. So when I was leaving, and once it had been announced, I had people stop by my desk and say things like, don't go work for the enemy. Which I understood to mean the black theater in town. Okay. Based on other things. Okay. They would say things like, oh man, and this is where that intersection of womanhood and blackness come together. Yeah. We're about to have a baby, and I was really looking forward to coming and asking for all of your wisdom and advice because, I'm the black girl that has 5 kids. Right. So of course, I am now automatically your parenting corner. And it's like there are there's 3 other women in here who have kids. Right. But that's okay. Okay. Or when 45 got elected, and then it was like, let's all just have space to talk about this, and it's like, no, I can't talk to y'all. Actually, no, I'm good. I need to do something else. And see, y'all are not used to having to deal with this kind of trepidation and anxiety and fear on the day-to-day like we are, because this is how we live life around here. Right. We just have to manage it in such a way. Right. And so now all of y'all gotta manage it, so now you want to pull us into your process. We good over here. Yeah, we're good. Leave me be. Right. Because I gotta deal with it in a completely different way from you. Right. And I have to deal with it with my family. I don't want to deal with it with y'all and with them. Okay? When will you get your peace? Right. That's why I left. No. Right. Bye. But there are, and it's always this, and some of this may just be me, but I know from talking to other black women in similar situations in artistic institutions that it's not just me. Right. Because some people will say, oh, but Nina, you're just like a teacher and a natural storyteller and a people person, so people flock to you. It's like, yeah, but I'm not the only one it happens to, and I know it for a fact.
Right.
It's like they turn to you like you're the man on the mountain.
Right.
And give me all of your knowledge, oh great guru.
Right.
You know, and then absolve me of my ignorance.
Yeah.
Forgive me for my sins.
Yeah.
And teach me how to do it right.
Right. Okay.
No.
Not
is the
one.
answer.
Not the one.
No. And I'm not going to perform, you know, I am not,
Yes,
I am not the Oracle from the Matrix. Okay? I am not your black mama Oracle. Go lay down. # take a nap.
Be great with your lavender.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
Go on and be great with your lavender.
And your juju beads. We are referring to a Facebook. What is it sent from? Colleen, can you send us that again?
No, I know where it is.
You know where it is?
I know exactly where it is.
Be great with your lavender.
It's a video. It's a video of a young man, and there's a woman who approaches his car, and she's obviously very upset. And she's like, I'm going to get my father to beat you up. And he's like, we can call my father. He's here.
Jesus. Well, I don't really believe in Jesus.
Oh, that's that spirit.
That spirit coming out. It had to be Atlanta. Was it Atlanta?
Girl, I don't know where. I think it was Atlanta.
I'm going to take a guess and say
but he teases her and antagonizes her with his churchy ways all the way up the street. But the funny thing is
you catch it in mid-conversation. And before it even happens, I really wonder what happened. But in my mind,
she said something to him
because he pulled out the camera to show proof.
Right.
You know, because this would be the same woman who'd be like, this black man was bothering me. Mm-hmm. And the way she was walking, he was where he was supposed to be. Probably minding his own business. I don't know. Maybe he could. Wasn't.
Well, the thing is, and see, that's the thing. There is no supposed to be.
Right.
They were in public space.
Right.
There was the sidewalk, and there was his car.
Right. He was talking. He wasn't talking to her.
And it's that idea. It's that idea that there is a supposed to be. I have no place. We been free.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that y'all don't get that. But we are actually free people.
Yeah.
Free. You know what I mean? So there is no, I mean, and it's like, my sister says this all the time.
Uh-huh.
White supremacy does not need white people to enact it. Okay. If it had sexism and misogyny, do not need men to enact it.
Yes.
If the systems have been set up to do the job that they've been set up to do, its work will be done without people pushing it forward. So this idea that there's a place that we're supposed to be, or a thing that we're quote unquote supposed to do. I am a full-grown adult.
Yeah, I can be where I want to be.
I can be wherever I want to be.
Right. I hear what you're saying.
I can be wherever I want to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the fact that she was just walking down the sidewalk and said whatever to him.
She was saying what she wanted to say to him, and he was like, no, I wasn't even talking to you.
Right. I'm getting in my car.
I think when I say he was where he was supposed to be.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
But I should be clear too, because there's someone who would say that and it would mean exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, so she's walking down and she's like, get away from me. He wasn't on her.
Nowhere
he wasn't touching
her.
He wasn't. But the funny thing was that he just completely he just completely dispelled everything. Like she didn't know how to take it because he handled it so offbeat. That's so classic of something that I think that I would have done, because it's so offbeat, because you expect the black man to come and say, "Rah, I'm going to come after you. You said something negative to me and I'm going to be angry at you." And instead, he just was like, Go. You don't tell me what to do. Go. Be great. Be great with your lavender. But yes, it's funny. I had an example too, though. I have my cousin who's American born, African American. She's Tennessee girl. She's a Southern girl. Who made her home in DC for many years, and she met her husband, who is from Togo. And they're married. They have 2 boys, and they live that life where they're here sometimes, they're in Africa sometimes. Well, she decided good idea to move to Africa. It made sense, and not because she didn't move because she wanted to be close to the homeland or anything like that. She moved because she likes her life in Africa. It was simple. It's funny because she's very woke, but it didn't really have anything to do with race in that sense. It was just that. Where she had investigated the land, the education system was good. They would be able to do X, Y, and Z. They like the fruits and vegetables. He's from there, all of those things. So she comes back each summer to come and visit us, and that's cool. So she came back, this was last summer. She came back last summer, and she and the boys stayed with us, and we all the cousins, we're second cousins, our children are third or something like that. So we're all cousins, just know that. So we go to one of my events where I was doing some type of performance with the art museum. And we go to one of these events, and so I was telling them, while I was performing in my little costume, they were enjoying the night market. Okay. So someone says, I introduced my cousin. I'm like, this is my cousin. She's here visiting. She's American born, but she lives in Togo, Africa. And they're like, oh, fantastic. Well, what do you do in Africa? And she was like, and I couldn't understand. This is how non-woke I am. But I appreciate when I'm kind of stupid like this because, But I was like, I'm standing there and they're like, well, what do you do there? And she's like, well, I live there, with my sons and my husband, and I teach and I run my own business and stuff like that. They're like, oh, okay. But what do you do? And she was like, well, I live there. I run my own business. What part don't you understand? Right. And so she goes up and I'm like, go and take y'all go on. I'm going to finish up this set, whatever. So I got pulled aside and they were like, so Kenya, what does your cousin do? I was like, she works? So she teaches, she lives there. That's what she does. No, she's not there to try to save children or anything.
Oh,
it was like it didn't even dawn on me. I was like, she just told you 3 times what she's doing. They were like, I know that she lives there, but what does she do there? I'm like, well, she works there. Sometimes, she teaches at the college. She works and she runs her business.
There's college there.
Yeah, there's college. In my mind, I was
Paul
just like
university
to be a part of
runs a business.
And when I thought about
Mind yours.
I was so tickled because it was like they had to beat it out of me because I was like, she just lives there. I don't know what you ask her. I don't know what. So finally, it was like, no, is she there or a missionary? Is she trying to teach their baby something? Is she trying to save the children? Is it like a hunger thing? No, it's none of that. She actually just lives there. They were like, why? I was like, well, because
it's better, and she don't have to answer questions like this. That's why. That kind of stuff. That's that performance that they expect.
And the funny thing is, I see you're so much more in tune because it's over my head. To me, it's just hilarious.
No, because there are days when you just gotta laugh to keep from crying and walk away. I always laughing
because I have to if I did. But it's just so funny to me. I was like, wow, is it that bad? Is it that bad that you don't know? But I was like, well, I suppose it's a unique situation, but maybe not,
Well, the thing is, it's
because my cousin, in all fairness,
American thinking.
It's American thinking because in all fairness, our side of the family cannot understand for the life of themselves why she's over there.
Most of my family can't understand why I'm an actor.
It's that, but it's that, but they just could not get over the fact that she's there, and I was like, why? Well, then if she's over there because she's doing this, why is she still over there? I was like, well, for her, Africa is a good place for her to raise her kids.
No, how about this? Well, how about this? She's there because it's her business.
That's her business, right?
Why are you here?
why would you stay? 45 isn't. He claims to be the president. Why are you here? Oh my gosh, all of that. When they started talking about what was the disease that came out?
Ebola.
I was about to say escargot. Yes, Ebola. I was like cranium. Escargot? Yes, Ebola. Now, the funny thing is, because she was traveling back and forth, and it was like, oh, you're African, you came from the Ebola. She was like, I don't know. Like, the news was so new to her across the pond. She was just like, y'all have more cases of it over here than we do over there. And I was like... Because
people do not understand the concept of the size of the continent of Africa.
Continent.
You could fit
the most important word.
You could fit three whole United States inside the continent of Africa.
It's huge.
You could fit 3 of them.
Huge.
But because Americans and American I should find out, because I go back and forth about this because I have many West African friends.
Right.
And I have some North African friends, you know, and there are times that they refer to the continent as Africa.
Right.
And then there are times that they refer to their country specifically.
Right.
So, you know, I hate saying like there's an African proverb, you know,
right.
It's like
well,
the whole continent has this proverb, right?
Yes,
but there's an African proverb that says, until the lion learns to write, the hunters will always be glorified in the story. Okay, so Americans write, white cishet male Americans write up until especially like 2000,
come on,
all of the history and make the maps.
Right.
So the way that the maps are drawn, it makes it look like the United States is as big or bigger than every other continent. It is not.
Name the lady who was. They keep posting on Facebook. She's on Oprah. You know who I'm talking about. She teaches about racism. She's a white lady.
Oh, the white lady, yes.
We gonna find her name.
That does the test.
Yes, child. Love her. But yes, it is true what you say. But here, I'm gonna blow y'all mind even more. Since we going at the continent of Africa, I stumbled upon Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s 6-part series, I think it is, on PBS of Africans. The Great African Civilization. Civilizations with an S. And my mind has been blown because all of this time I was taught that Africans don't write anything down. So the history has been written for us. When I found out, when it was confirmed right there in living color, that was a complete myth. Not only was it was just so, like, I can't even really talk about it with you. I need another year because I have watched this 6-part series 3 times so far. My children have watched it with me, and they're like, all of us are in a frenzy. Joseph too. Now I got my dad watching it, and he's just like, say what? You know, so it's a thing when Dr. Woods is like, I never knew that. Like, so now he comes over, and that's what we do. When he comes over, he and Mom come over, we already know, get it set up. We're going to turn on YouTube, PBS, Henry Louis Gates, and watch all this information. But it's just, when I tell you that there's been so many books written, and African people, people from the continent of Africa, the huge continent of Africa, all know this to be true. And this is just news to us. It was news to me. So, and the fact that it, yes, there was stuff written down, but just to go back so far, 2,000 years, 4,000 years, 5,500 years to find that there have been writings, that there's been writing literally on the wall that has a rich history. To also find out that there are things happening in Ethiopia, along the East Coast, where they're, they've already built dams that disturbed some of the ancient cities that we'll never have the information to now. That those things are happening. Something else is happening too along the east side. I have to watch the series just like you do, but to have all of that, to understand that all of that information has been there. That it's not been that Black people don't write, Africans don't write. It's there. What happened is you just took advantage of the system and created a lie. Yeah. And so for me to find out all of this stuff now today, while everybody, while I'm waking up and everybody around me is waking up or woke, it does something to you to be raised in a society where you find out you're the person who really matters. When you're in a household where you're born into my life matters.
There is a thing that I have many friends actually who have spouses who are from like the islands.
Yeah.
And they all have, I even have family members that that's the case. And they talk about the difference in people who have had that experience. And the experience that I'm speaking of is the experience of having political leaders, religious leaders, educational leaders, all look like you.
Yeah.
There's something different about walking around in a place where your president, your mayor, your secretaries of state, your teachers, your police force, your religious leaders are all brown.
Yeah.
And they all look like you.
Yeah.
This is one of the only places in the world where that doesn't happen.
Right.
And I think that's one of the unique things too about New Orleans.
Yeah, it is.
It is a very diverse city, but it's also a very segregated city.
Right. Okay.
Or separated.
Okay.
City.
Okay.
And not in bad ways.
No, I was gonna say,
because though I went to a predominantly white high school when I was in elementary school. And some of this, I'm coming to understand as I'm raising my own children may have been some of my father's hand strategically steering my education. But all of my elementary school teachers were black. I did not have not one white teacher. And he may have made sure of that, because I do remember kind of switching classes a couple times, like starting in a class for 1 or 2 days and then getting moved to a class. Every single one of my elementary school teachers was black.
Wow. And I think the only time that ever happened to me, I'm going to go back as far as nursery school, because nursery school, as you call it, pre-K or daycare, whatever it is. But nursery school, it was extremely diverse. I remember that. I remember we had a black nun. We had the workers who helped us. I don't know their names because I don't remember their names. I remember their knees. I know that there were a couple of white women there, that there were a couple of black men there, that there was, I don't know what race he was because I was so young. It didn't, I'm just thinking about, I'm looking at literally to the sky because I'm imagining what I was at age 3 and 4 and what I saw, who I remember, whose hands cared for me. I think up to like first grade, my teachers were black. And then after that, I went to, all of my teachers were white. So in a sense, it still was a good mix because it was all my teachers were white, but all the classes were black. But again, my parents did a lot of exposing me to all kinds of things. So where one may have been lacking just based on the lifestyle of my parents, I was being fulfilled in another sense. So I understood diversity at a young age because of their lifestyle, even though the both of them are from the segregated South. And to be honest with you, if my dad tells his history, he'll let you know that even in the segregated South, when they were kids, they played with the Craig boys. I don't know if you guys are still around or whatever. Their dad was a lawyer, but they played with the Craig boys all the time. And the Craig boys those were white kids, and in the neighborhood, because there weren't that many houses or anything, but that was his experience as a boy. And he had a chance to, go to the creek and, ride the railroads, which I know you told me about. You told me not to tell grandma, but I did anyway. He used to ride on it was foolish. They used to ride on it. They used to cross over the dams. Oh, it was a mess. He was like, man, could have gotten so much trouble then. But anyways, he had the opportunities of being a boy free of a lot of those things until I guess, it came to a standstill. But again, the area that he was in, it didn't affect him, so he escaped a lot of that, but he was still aware. So those ideas that he brought to the family, my mom had similar experiences that she brought to the family, and that, and I think we just carry that on in our family. So when I get a question like, well, what does your cousin really do in Africa? For me, it's,
tired.
It
makes me tired.
Well, it makes you, but I think because it affects us differently because of our environment. Because you're from New Orleans, where there's rich this, rich that, rich this in culture, and that's not just black and white people. That's all kind of people. I'm from Cleveland,
and racism.
No, I'm from Cleveland, where it's supposed to be an abolitionist state, but it's extremely segregated. It's so segregated that if you look black, you're black. And if you look white, you're white. And there was no in between. You could be Jewish and be black as a biscuit, and guess what people will call you? Black. You could be Mexican and be blonde hair, blue-eyed, and what will people call you? White. Unless, of course, you have an accent, then you'll be black. So we didn't even distinguish races at that point. It was just literally black and white. And we came together for, a few offbeat people, which is the people that our family seems to hang out a lot with, where the people who all kind of came together and, had our own unique experiences, But I really had to learn about different cultures and things like that, leaving out of the state of Ohio. And when I moved to New York, I was like, damn, culture. There's a whole lot of different type of folks in the land. You Japanese, but you live where? Jamaica? And you're a Rastafari? I never heard of it. It must exist.
What is kind of bubbling up for me, the reason why things like Queen Sugar and Fresh Off the Boat and Master of None and Jane the Virgin and, Atlanta and Blackish, all of these kind of shows, Quantico, which has a East Asian lead. The reason why they're doing so well is because people of color in this country and a certain part of the white population of this country is ready to see people. That's one thing. That's one thing. But I think particularly for the people of color who are doing extremely well right now. Like when I think about these particular creators, Ava DuVernay, Issa Rae, Donald Glover, Lena Waithe, Justin Simien, a lot of these people, Aziz Ansari, they're not simply oh, I'm an actor and I went to acting school and I did auditions and then I got this great part and that's awesome. No. They are, I wrote it, I produced it, I did the Kickstarter, I found the crew, I filmed it, I put it on YouTube myself, I went and location scouted, I learned how to edit, I learned how to sound design, I learned how to do...
If you sit back and you wait and you do it that way, it will not happening.
It will never happen. And the thing is, everyone's this was the conversation amongst people of color at the Emmys. It's because Aziz Ansari won, Lena Waithe won, Donald Glover won. Everybody's first black this, that, and the other, first East Asian this, that, and the other. And the thing is, while yes, we are celebrating, and everybody was talking about Issa Rae's statements and say, who are you rooting for? She's like, everybody black, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. And it's the reason why that was just such a thing to so many people, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that, because she wasn't performing pain for them. She's like, no, I'm not going to perform suffering for you. I'm not going to go, oh, it's just so amazing that we finally got here. She's like, I'm rooting for the black people. Because I know what they had to do to get there, because that's what she did. And the thing is, their nominations proved the thing that we always say and tell people that our parents and our mentors have taught us, which is you gotta be twice as good to go half as far.
Because, or 3 times. 3 times as good to go half.
Right, to go half as far, because like for a lot of people it's like, I went to acting, and not that this isn't work, because it is, but it's like I went to acting school and I had my coaches and I got my manager and my agent and I went on auditions and then I got this great role and I did great work and I got my award, or whatever. But for us it's like you have to conceive it, you have to write it, you have to pitch it, you got to raise the money for it, you got to do it yourself, you got to create brand new freaking mediums to distribute it yourself. You gotta do all of these things, and it's like, do you know that Ava DuVernay kept a day job until Selma?
Yes.
The thing is,
but I understand it though.
By that point, she had already made 5 films. You know what I mean? Like, she had done features, she had done documentaries, she had already won Best Director of Sundance. Right. She had directed episodes of Scandal for Shondaland, and she still had a day job.
Yes.
Until Selma. Yes. Until she got that Oprah money.
Right.
She had to keep a day job. How? How, Sway?
On one end, I'm like, yeah.
I mean, but yes, because pay your bills.
I get it. But on the other end, I'm like, this is insane, because I feel it on my end. Mm-hmm. I know you feel it on yours, where you're just like, and a lot of times I try to not go down that rabbit hole where I'm just like, I got to do all of this so that I can just do this, so that I can produce and create and do that. I got to do all of this to create and produce, so that I could create and produce what I need to do. And I have to do it because nobody's going to do it for me, because I already tried that route and it's not working. And for many of the artists out there, I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure all of you are at that point where it's like, you're not going to get that job, and maybe it's a good thing, because you don't get it. It forces you to create. But I've seen a lot of times where it has just swallowed people up whole, and it has taken them, and they've taken their lives over it. It's ugly, and I think I'm in constant fear that with that weight on my shoulders as an artist, that I might be swallowed up too. I don't think I would, but you never know.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because it's that serious. It's that deep. So going back to Lupita, so we're going to go back to that, is that, okay, she was a student and graduated from, was it Yale? Okay, so let's go back now. This is not a person that was a waitress in a restaurant who was discovered. Okay, this wasn't a person who had a few acting classes and then decided to just, get an agent. And I'm not saying that that's not hard, because that is hard. It is. She, left her native land, had gone to Europe. It was Hampshires and... Where's Hampshire?
No, it's here. No, she was born in Mexico. She was raised in Kenya. She got her bachelor's at Hampshire, which is here.
So I understand.
States. It's 7 sisters. It's one of the 7 sisters. So it's an Ivy League.
Okay. Yeah. So my point is that she didn't just,
she was the best of the best.
She was the best of the best.
Yeah.
And she did all of that to do, to be finally recognized, in my opinion, within the last few years. Her breakout role, although she's done other stuff, was 12 Years a Slave. How? With a coinky dink. Okay. She was extraordinary in her role as in 12 Years a Slave. But obviously there's so much more to her, and there's so much more that she could do. So she's the best of the best, the creme de la creme when it comes to the acting, but she's had to do all of that, and in my opinion, I'm like, well, why aren't we seeing her more? Now, I'm happy that we're seeing her, don't get me wrong, because we couldn't, a few years ago, we wouldn't be seeing her at all. But the point is, that lets me know that we are making some type of strides, we are advancing, not only are we seeing people of color in different aspects of acting, but we're seeing other different groups as well, other brown people as well, and others, which is also very refreshing. We don't have to wait until the Sixth Sense movie comes out, before we could see the nice little scene of the East Indian couple getting the ring from, you know what I mean? For that little snippet. We don't have to wait for that anymore. It's becoming a little bit more prevalent. So, but the point is that she did all of this and that we're just now seeing her. You know, that kind of outrages me, because in my opinion, had she been lighter, of a different race, and maybe even born in the States, she would have had a different path. It may have been, I won't say it would have been easier, but it may not have been as taxing for her. And we know this to be true because studies show that it's to be true. But, you know, as artists, we always, you know, as with anything else, I don't think it depends on what other area you're in. But I think as artists, it just, you know that's the reality. That, you know, that's what you're going to have to go through. You have to do it harder, faster, longer, stronger.
You have to be twice as good to go half as far. I will never forget one day in grad school, we were in world theater class, world playwrights, right, which was an elective. It was not a required course, it was an elective.
That's interesting.
But this is the class where we learned about Langston Hughes and Lorraine Hansberry and, you know, whoever else. So anyway, we are in this class, and this is a class where we learn basically about any playwrights of any color, right? Black people and non-black people of color.
Right.
So I was in grad school around the time of the August Wilson Robert Brustein debates. And if you're not familiar with that debate, they did a public Lincoln Douglas style debate, which means I talk and give a speech and then you talk and give a speech, right? Because at the time there was a very controversial and celebrated production of A Long Day's Journey into Night by Eugene O'Neill with an all-black cast. And so, you know, they were being celebrated by all the white critics, like, oh my God, look at how talented these black people are. They're speaking in Irish accents and they're acting this text. And so August Wilson was like, that's cute. And basically his argument was, but it's wrong because whiteness is not a monolith. For them to be an affluent Irish family in the United States in the 30s is a very specific thing, because Irish people were poor in the United States in the 30s. So for them to be an affluent Irish family dealing with an opioid addiction is very specific. And black people in the 1930s who were affluent would have made different choices, would have said different words, and would have handled the situation differently because in this case, for that story, race is actually really important. So that was one part of his argument. The other part of his argument was, why must we be viewed through the lens of whiteness? Why is that the measure of how masterful we are or not? Our stories have merit. Our stories have complexity. Our stories have depth. And we don't have to be able to tell a white story in order to be acknowledged. How about this? In the words of Malcolm X, who are they to be equal to? Why do I have to be equal to you? What have you done that makes me want to be equal to you? Okay, so anyway, it's a very public debate. And so the class this particular day was debating this debate. Okay, and so this young lady, you know, and it's a grad class for acting, so it's small. A big grad class for acting is 12. Most hang around 6 or 8 people, you know, and fairly evenly split in terms of gender. So, and I was the only person of color in my grad class, which you expect, like, you know that going in. So,
I have my hand over my head.
So
I'm doing a soft smack my head.
So we're talking about this, and there's one young lady in the class, and this chick, her dad was a senator, and she was the definition of every stereotype about, you know, a rich privileged kid rebelling against their parents. And I was like, girl, aren't you tired? You know, so you know, I mean, ain't you tired? Really, you just gonna fall right into this? Okay. So she decided this was the day to take on Nina.
Oh,
and
that
and
was a mistake.
it was because see, I was young. I ain't had no kids yet.
Yeah, right,
I had none but energy.
You didn't have to account to anybody.
So, and I had things to prove because I was the first black woman in 2002 to graduate from that master's program
you
ever
Yeah.
in the history of that school.
Go on then.
So here she goes. Well, he is supposed to be Mr. August Wilson, and I just don't understand. I was like, girl, stop.
Right.
So first of all, he is Mr. August Wilson. And the only reason that you know his name is because he has a Pulitzer, he has Tonys, he has New York Drama Critics Circle Awards. I want you to name for me right now 5 black playwrights. You cannot name Langston Hughes, Lorraine Hansberry, or Pearl Clegg because we had just done Flying West. Okay. I said, so you can't name August, Langston, Lorraine, or Pearl. Name 5. Name 5. Go. She couldn't name any. And I was like, class, anybody else? Give me 5. Just 5.
How about 2?
We did that too. They couldn't. Because the only ones they knew were August Wilson, Lorraine Hansberry, and Pearl Clegg.
Because
okay.
It doesn't exist.
Because here it is. I
don't know about it, so it doesn't exist.
No, here's the thing. In order to be considered a master of the field of theater and the craft of acting, I must know Chekhov, Ibsen, Shakespeare, O'Neill, Williams, Wendy Wasserstein, Sam Shepard. I have to know them. It is a part of the study. Right? But in order for me as a black woman to work in the field, I also have to know my own canon. So I have to know, yes, Wilson, yes, Hansberry, but I also got to know Katori Hall and Nicole Salter, and I got to know Ntozake Shange, and I got to know Lionel III and Garland Anderson, and I got to know PJ Gibson, and I got to know, and I was naming them, I was just tick, 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 tick. Here's the list. And here they go, well, are these people new? I was like, baby, half of them are dead. Read a book. It's like, and that's the difference.
Read a book. Remember that?
But it's like, that's the difference. In order for me to be considered a master of this craft, I have to know your canon.
Yeah, right.
But in order for me to work in this craft, I have to also know mine.
Right.
Because I'm not getting cast in yours. No. I'm getting cast in mine. And so that is not hyperbole. Yeah, that is not a nice fun anecdote that I'm making up. That is a fact. The place where we
it's the
work
same in the dance world.
Absolutely. The place where we work the most is gonna be either at the black company or at the white company during Black History Month when you're doing the play by the black playwright.
Or there could be 1 or 2 people in the choir ballet. No, in dance. In dance. Oh yeah, that you could be one of them, but that's it.
Or the third spear bearer from the left in the Shakespeare or the Greek thing, but in order for me to work, because anybody can be the third spear bearer from the left, so I'm qualifying it in order for me to get quality work, where I can work the degree that I worked for and paid for, am still paying for. I have to know my canon. But in order to get the piece of paper that qualifies me as a quote unquote master, I have to know your canon. That is literally, not figuratively, but literally twice the work.
That is.
So don't come for me. This is not the place where you're gonna win. Do you know who George C. Wolfe is? I mean, do you know? And do you know who he is? I'm like,
I don't know about him, so
he must not exist. Like, here's the thing, girl.
I hate you.
I hate you. No, that's a hard pass. No. So, and there's something about that is, I want somebody to produce on Strivers Row. Which is this brilliant play. It is a comedy, but it's about this black affluent family during the Harlem Renaissance, and they have a maid because they're affluent,
right?
And they're already rich and they're old money,
right?
And she wins the lottery.
How about that?
And brings her people in with their new money,
right,
into the old bougie money,
right?
And comedy ensues. Right, you know, it's like, can we do that sometime?
Yeah,
like
and we don't have to do the black version of this. Let's do that.
We don't want to do the black version of this and that. I am so tired of the black version.
We don't need the black version.
We don't. We have our own flipping stories to tell.
Just tell.
Do you know why I wrote my first one-woman show? Because there was no play published anywhere that existed about black Creole women 3 generations in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. That it didn't exist.
Right.
And they told me, your thesis must be something that is your definitive work as an artist up to this point. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I need a play.
Right. Right.
That talks about the experience of black Creole women.
Right. And I needed to...
And not just Marie Laveau, because she ain't the only one.
No. I needed to... Well, I feel you, because that's why I needed to create work for myself, because... I had to, because there's nothing out there for me. The jobs that I would be asked to do or asked to perform and choreograph were, performance pain things.
Yeah.
That really would not use my fullest ability. And I found myself going into these situations, where my choreography would be picked at and used, but I wasn't going to be getting any kind of recognition,
right?
Any acknowledgement. I certainly wasn't going to be paid, so I found that I either do these jobs over here like that, or I produce my own because I like to see different types of dances. I'd like to see myself or someone who looks like me. I would just like to see dance happen.
How about that?
Outside of the confines of what it looks like to everybody in the area. It would be, that's all I wanted, is to be able to step out of the box. And I very often have to produce my own works. Like, that is such a part of my life right now. I can't even think about being a part of any type of group. I'll collab all day long now, but I won't do much more than that.
Right.
So, but yeah, you have to do that. In a sense, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but we have. I
just did a lot of yelling, didn't I? I'm sorry, y'all.
No, Nina gets angry with a real angry black woman. Please, I'm only subdued now because I am filled with cold medicine, and I'm glad you yelled, because now I can hear you out of my right ear.
You're hilarious.
Yes. Well, there you go. There you go. And that's it. That's all we have to say. That's all. Hey, listeners, I got a question for you. Do y'all have something y'all need to say? Please email us.
Yes, email us.
Have you heard from anybody yet?
We have gotten one or two really nice, we love the show, kind of things, but we haven't gotten any questions.
We need some questions. I mean, what kind of conversation is this where we're talking and you're not talking back? What's up with that? I know you got something to say. Yes, so say it.
So ask us some questions.
Yes, that's the most appropriate way of saying it.
Email us.
Yes, if you have something to say, just say it. Dad, come on.
Email us at harmonizenk@gmail.com. That is harmonizenk@gmail.com. You can tweet us at HarmonizePod on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram at HarmonizePod.
Where you go, I will follow.
Oh my goodness. Follow us on Facebook.
I'll have nothing for that.
Harmonize with Nina and Kenya, and we will post links to all of those things in the show notes.
Yes.
If you have not seen it, you should go find the film Confirmation on HBO with Kerry Washington and Wendell Pierce about that Anita Hill case. It is brilliantly done.
I remember that like yesterday.
It's brilliantly done, and I don't think people realize the impact, once again, of a black woman and how she changed the face of the way that sexual harassment was
in the workplace.
Litigated in this country.
After that case, there were some major overhauls, some major changes took place.
The year after that case is called the Year of the Woman. It was the year that the most women senators and representatives were elected to Congress in the history of the country. So it is an important piece of our history, and the film is beautifully rendered, so you should go see that work. And it's support Black art.
Yes, please do it.
Support Black art.
Yeah.
We didn't think of a song today. Oh, but we did think of Clifford. Quiff. We will link Cliff, because that's your joy. We always try to give you a little piece of joy in the show. We gonna link Quiff, because he is hilarious. With your laugh.
Do I look like Eddie Murphy?
Right.
Do I look like Eddie Murphy? Of course I'm serious. We love you, Cliff.
He has a series of, he's a YouTube comedian, and he has a series of skits and videos
vignettes.
called vignettes. Thank you. In an African home, and so he plays himself and his father, and sometimes his best friend. He plays everybody, and he's really, really funny. So we will link Cliff. We'll link some song. We'll find a song and give it to you. Yeah.
Oh, check out In an African City. Is that what?
Oh, yes, that was the other one too. Yes, In an African City. Yes. All right, we're.
I think we're done.
I think we are.
We're done. I know you can't stand for us to go,
but we gotta.
Thank you for allowing us to get angry.
We was angry today.
Yes, amen. Angry and sleepy. Take it away, Nina.
Wow. Yeah.